This is the historic flag of Lithuania with its knight on a white horse.
Okay, so there's more to it than what I'm making out here. This is Lithuania's official state flag, not to be confused with their national flag. But why is it a thing, and who is the chap on horseback? Well, if we go back a few years to around 1200 CE, we find that this, or at least some sort of war banner version of it, in use for the then Kingdom of Lithuania. Although any written documentation of this doesn't appear for another few hundred years from the Battle of Grunwald in 1410, a conflict between the Teutonic Order and the allied forces of the Poles and Lithuanians. Teutonic, good word. Lithuania was said to carry a red banner depicting a mountain knight known as Vytis, although that name doesn't appear until around 1846. There are many theories of the origin of the name, from the Lithuanian verb vitai, meaning to chase, or vites, which refers to the lowest rank, a knight, or may be made up from a personal name such as Vytenis. There are many other thoughts, but all only suggestions, and we may never really know the actual reason behind the name Vytis. This red banner was carried by the army of the Grand Duchy, while other noble families of Lithuania carried flags depicting the columns of Gediminas, which were the coat of arms for the Grand Duke of Vytis back in the late 1300s CE. This symbol was then adopted by King Jogaila of Poland while ruling over Lithuania, and eventually used as a symbol of the whole dynasty of Grand Duke Gediminas during the 16th century. The term columns of Gediminas first appeared in the early 20th century, as they were thought to be gates of Poles. Whatever this symbol really is, it derived locally. But why am I talking about this flag? Well, some early versions of the Vytis had these columns on the shield, and some with the Jogailian double cross, otherwise known as the krivis. These symbols appear interchangeable over the years. The krivis, or Lithuanian cross, is an iconic symbol which dates back to 1386, having first appeared on a shield-shaped seal of King Jogaila. You remember, the Polish king. There's no specific reason why a second line appears on the more familiar Christian symbol, but it might be linked to the king having been baptized. Anyway, this cross was one of the very few national symbols Lithuania was allowed to keep during the Russian Empire's occupation in the late 18th and early 19th centuries. In 2008, it was renamed the Cross of Vytis, after the Order of the Cross of Vytis, a Lithuanian presidential award used to celebrate heroic defense of Lithuanians' freedom. But we've jumped way ahead here. We need to rewind back, and between 1569 and 1795, the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth used a flag that incorporated both the Polish eagle and the Vytis into its coat of arms, demonstrating the importance of its symbolism as a unified state. Fast forward now to 1905, and the National Conference of the Great Seimas of Vilnius, Lithuania's capital city, is held. It covers topics such as laying down the groundwork of an independent Lithuania from the Russian Empire, as well as what their national flag should be. The Vytis is proposed but rejected on the grounds of its links with the Grand Duchy of Lithuania, which back then included areas of parts of Belarus and Ukraine. Also, red was a strong colour associated with Marxism and communism. And finally, the panel thought that there was simply too much detail to represent en masse when having to sew their flag. So, was the Vytis condemned to the history books at this time? No. You only have to wander around the streets of the country's capital to see it flying all over the place today. So how come? Well, following the fall of the occupation of the Soviet Union from the mid to late 20th century, Lithuania and its neighbouring Baltic states went through some major changes, and by 2004 one of those changes was they officially reintroduced the Vytis flag as a state flag in a 3:5 ratio, displaying what is now the national coat of arms, and its popularity appears on the streets and sporting events as well as in Parliament. And now Belarus gets involved. How? Well, let me take you back again to the 1905 meeting where the Vytis was rejected, partly because of the links with other countries, one of which being Belarus. Out of interest, here is the 1991 to 1995 Belarusian coat of arms. Looks familiar? That's because part of the country also fell under the Grand Duchy of Lithuania. but that's a whole different story. So who is this knight? Well, it could be Bakunas, a supreme god, or it could be Kovas, who was a god of war. Later on, it is thought to be the Grand Duchy himself, but the flag predated him quite a bit. Whoever he is, he's in battle defending himself and honour. And you can follow more about the flag-related episodes by clicking on the Big Baltics Bonanza playlist here that includes podcasts, city and national flags of the Baltic nations, as well as historic flags of the area. Be seeing you